Today's top news, September 16, 2025. Economics, banking, finance, technology startups, and sustainability. To start with, oil and gas prices. US crude is now $63, Brent is around $68. Natural gas is at 3.02 MMBTU. So, major trend in precious metal is interesting. Gold is surging again, 3719, and silver crossed 43.17 dollar per ounce. It's all going up and up, commodities. What about the currency market? $1 is equal to 88.21 rupee. 1 euro is equal to $1.176. 1 British pound is equal to $1.37. Again, when it comes to dollar index, there's a marginal correction. 97.266 is the dollar index part. And US bonds, treasury yields are coming down. Now, if you look at the big picture, they are waiting for Fed decision tomorrow and day after tomorrow. US market, stock market are all up, and European market, except London FTSE, rest of the markets are up. Asian markets have mixed signals. Indian market is down by 0.18%, and again, Bombay Stock Exchange is 0.15% down. That's the essence of the market space. Oil steady as market weighs supply risk from attacks on Russian refineries. What about the top news from India? Indian rupee extend gain after WPI and 6 paise higher at 88.22. Trade deficit narrows to 25.7% at 26.59 billion in August. Import dipped by 10%. Indian exports grew 6.7% in August despite Trump's 50% tariff shock. Exports rose. Tariffs took effect on August 27th. Business front-loaded shipments. US-bound exports still grew. Textile and engineering sectors hit. Trade deficit narrowed. Talks with US resumed. Outlook remains cautious. India and US resumed trade talks. Trump tariffs triggered pause. Delegation led by top negotiators Brendan Leach and Rajesh Agarwal. They are sitting on the table now. Not a formal negotiation round. It's a continuation of talks and focus on trade, not geopolitics. Weekly virtual meetings preceded this, so outcome to shape future rounds. Ujjivan Small Finance Bank evaluation adjustment reveals complex financial landscape. Evaluation score revised. Technical trend turns mildly bullish. Mixed momentum signals. Valuation remains expensive. Return on equity is around 8.8%. Asset quality under watch. Net non-performing assets to book value is 3.77. Strong capital adequacy buffer. Institutional interest remains high. The bank retains significant institutional holdings and lending strength. QBA Sweden discuss enhancing investment opportunities. Foreign institutions weigh on QSC. Telecom and industrial sees higher selling pressure. And Oman joined WTO agreement on fisheries subsidies. Oman inflation rate rises by 0.5%. Oman central bank issues treasury bill worth of 176 million Omani Riyal. Future Fund Oman aims to promote economic diversification. Google Pay, Alipay Plus to launch Saudi Arabia SAMA. Google Pay officially launched. Alipay Plus agreement signed. And part of Vision 2030 goals, e-payment adoption surges, secure and seamless experience, infrastructure modernization, global fintech positioning. And Saudi inflation edges up to 2.3% in August. Rent remains key driver. Sharjah real estate hit record in August transactions. The rest of the world news. Asia stocks scale new highs, dollar at tentative as investors eye Fed cut. China's economy slumps in August, caused doubt on growth target. Taiwan likely to hold rates steady with the economy buoyant for now. South African markets soared despite weak economic data, slow reforms. Sri Lanka's economic growth inches higher after rate cuts. 4.8% was the last one, 4.9 now, Q2. European news. AstraZeneca drags FTSE 100 lower ahead of key central bank decision. Sterling firms heading into busy week of central bank decisions. Ukraine plans 2026 budget with 18.4% deficit. Russian Putin says measures to reduce inflation are working, but growth needs work. Inflation rates should not diverge in long term. That's what the European central bank are saying. America's news: Wall Street extends higher ahead of Fed meeting. Tesla and Alphabet's rally. Trump calls for bigger interest rate cut ahead of Fed meeting. Senate confirms Trump advisor Stephen Miron to Fed board, potentially influencing the rate policy just before the vote. Argentine draft 2026 budget spotlights fiscal balance, hikes social allocations. Brazil economic activity falls more than expected in July, and Canada July factory sales up. Tech and startup news. Google set out plan to invest £5 billion in Britain over the next 2 years. US-China reach framework to deal on TikTok. Trump and Xi to speak on Friday. In latest trade warning to US, China says Nvidia violated anti-monopoly law. And Australian wants minimally invasive age check under teen social media ban. OpenAI releases GPT-5 codex. And sustainability news: Chinese polysilicon giant GCL to raise capital for supply side reforms. And Canada BC government approved LNG project on Pacific coast. EU set to miss UN deadline for new climate targets. China renewable action signals challenges for solar developers. India bet on geothermal energy with launch of first national policy. Norway's first floating wind tender attracts 2 bids. Sustainable switch, Bali deadly floods. That's the essence of it. Conservationists fight to save Nigeria's sea turtle from pollution and poachers. That's the essence of today's top news. Keep watching us, we'll keep you posted.